Superior Cadillac ambulance. Now this is a toy I picked up somewhere in a garage sale or something. It was already in pieces, missing a front axle, missing one wheel and tire, and otherwise it's in pretty good condition. I think the biggest problem is on the left front fender. Somebody seems to have stepped on this toy and broken the front fender, and it's distorted the hood and everything. You can see the big crack there. So gonna have to, it's already taken apart, it came in parts, but I'm gonna have to fix that crack and strip it and paint it, and I will restore it back to normal. The thing's in pretty good shape, but it's missing one of these wheels. I'm gonna have to see if I can source one of these. And the back axle, it has a cam on it, and the base looks pretty good, and I'm thinking it's original base. It's got the original paint and it looks quite good. I don't need to really do much to it, so I'm probably not going to bother painting that. There seems to have been some sort of screw that was holding it together originally, and the inside, the interior, all comes in one piece with the windshield and the seats, and there's a battery compartment because this toy has a blinking light. Now, this is from the 70s. This is a 1971 Cadillac it's based on. And so it's got a lot of riveted parts, a lot more than the old ones I'm doing from the 50s and 40s. But I think it's going to work out just fine. It's got these separate parts for a lot of the things that you would otherwise have trouble detailing because you'd have to tape and mask and all that kind of stuff. So these are all separate parts. So it might work out better than working on the models that are simpler, that are all one-piece body. And I'm going to have to replace these stickers. So I just want to measure up and keep a record of what size they were. But in fact, there's marks on the body for the people in the factory putting the sticker there, so I really don't need those dimensions. Now on the base, on the back, there's springs on the front and back. On the back one, it's all been bent up and somebody's been hitting it with a punch, and that's because it's been bent. Somebody pressed on it really hard and it's been bent. So I'm going to have to take this spring off. I can't see any other way of repairing it, and it's very thin material, but that's going to have to come off in order to straighten that spring. So that's my first step. So I'm going to file the rivet down so it's flat, and then I'm going to have to drill it out, and I'm not going to be able to make a blind hole because it's very, very thin. It's just the bottom plate and the tiny rivet post. So I'm going to prepare and drill this thing out. So this is a spring-loaded center punch. And on this one, I realize that I use the hand tools too much. I use the hand drill or the Dremel tool. So I'm going to give it a try. I have a milling machine, benchtop milling machine with a vise, and I can bring a drill down exactly in the right position, and then I can do multiple operations all the while being in the right position. So here I'm going in with a center drill. The center drills don't wander because they're very stiff, and then follow that up with a conventional drill. hammering it is a little bit more effective in this application. So basically I'm forging this part, reforging it back to normal, and I get it pretty darn flat. So that's going to work absolutely perfectly. So I've got my 440 screws. That's the same screws I used to screw the base to the body. The screw sticks out a little bit. Nobody's looking at the bottom of this thing, so I'm going to be happy with that. So this is for the front bumper assembly. The whole grille and front bumper are all one piece, and it's riveted also to the body. So again, I'm in the milling machine and I've got it clamped in the vise, and this will let me first center drill, then drill out the rivet until there's nothing left, that it'll pop out. I think I've got it to that point. There we go. And now I'm already in the position, so now I can center drill it and then drill with the tap drill. Again for a 440 screw, because those are the screws I got, those nice stainless screws from China, and they're perfect for all these applications on a Dinky toy. And while I've got the center position, I'm going to tap this hole as well, again using the cool tool. The tap handle I'm using, I got when I was an apprentice. It's a Starrett tap handle. I would never pay this kind of money what these things are worth. I would buy some Chinese made tap handle, but there was a salesman was getting rid of samples, and so I was able to get really good quality. There's another Starrett tap handle. So I got these as an apprentice for dirt cheap, and they've served me really, really well through the years. Any tap handle will work. I just love these. They're beautiful. So tap the casting for my 440 screw for the body. There's only one screw holding this in. The back locks in with little hooks. Now I've got some advice from another builder to use the Dremel tool and a little burr like this. So I had a burr like this, and it took a little while to grind this out, and I actually put the hearing protection on because that Dremel tool screams. Now I popped it out using my center punch, a spring-loaded center punch. Very handy, and there you can see it came out nice and clean. And this is the rear bumper again. So many parts on this thing are riveted in, and this time I've ground them with the Dremel tool, and so the rear bumper came off pretty simple. So I think I got all the parts apart, and back door, we need to do that as well. Same deal, I ground them down with the Dremel tool, and it is effective. It takes a little bit longer than with the drill, but you don't have to worry about keeping the drill centered. On a small part like this, it works much better. Now I got to carefully pry the plastic off of there. I don't want to damage it, because then I've got to put it back on in the same place. I actually put a little crack in the plastic, but it doesn't really affect it in the end. So now this is a new thing. I've gone outside. The weather is good, and I've got my caustic soda, and I don't think I heated the water up enough. So it took a while, but in the end, it did strip the paint off, and I also got to clean the paint off of all my hemostats, which I'm pretty pleased about. I go in with the brass brush. I don't like to polish my castings. A lot of the builders like to go through and polish them until they shine, and they look beautiful when they're all shined up. But I don't see the advantage of it, and it would take a lot of time, and I would have to buy these little brushes for the Dremel tool and listen to the thing squealing. There I'm cleaning up my hemostats, which is great because they were coated in so much paint. So now I've put the model into the vise, and this is the primary thing I've got to fix. This is the crack. Somebody stepped on this thing and broke the front left quarter panel, and spend a lot of time. I'm heating this thing up very lightly using one of these cigarette lighters from the dollar store, which are like little torches. And I like to have these things. It's a it's a little torch that costs $1. Can't argue with that. So it took a little bit. I needed to heat it up a little bit more than I thought at the beginning, but in the end, I was able to get it. And what I did was I got it into position, and then I got the still going. And then once it's in position, I'm holding it, it'll spring back. So then I said, okay, well, I need to freeze it in position. So I got my dust sprayer and turn it upside down, and that stuff comes out cold. It's like a refrigerant. And that did the trick. Now it's all bulged out because it, it kind of bulged it out because after the crack, the cracked portions are not going to fit back together, and so I have to go in there with a file and smooth it and make it flat. So that was a bit of an effort, and in the end, the thing all looked like one piece. I didn't even put any glue or cement or solder in there. Probably I should have, but anyway, it turned out pretty good. So uh, it looks like one piece of metal now. Now the hood was also damaged when this thing was stepped on. The rivet is under there, and there's other posts for holding the axles, and then the parts in between got all bent out of shape. So you see when I'm trying to file the hood flat, there's all kinds of high spots and low spots. So I got to go in there and put some putty in order to fill those spaces so that I can make the hood look flat again. So it's more than just fixing the crack. So there I put it in the easy bake oven to dry it so that I can go in and sand it quickly. I say it's an easy bake oven. It's a light bulb. And if you don't have a sister, the easy bake oven they had when I was a child, the heat source was a light bulb. So there I've cleaned camera before I even thought about making video. It's made from RTV silicone, and I made a mold using one of the original tires. These ones are tires that say Dunlop on them. I could not find replacement tires even from Steve Flowers, maybe because I don't know how to identify them. But anyway, I molded them and made a new tire, and it looks okay. These castings are made of this white metal. They're quite soft, which means they're easy to work with, which is just fine in a case like this where it's just a decorative part. But you got to clear off all the flashing. Now, I'm looking to replace the paint, and I'm just using the aqueous Mr. Hobby paint, and just to see if the color matches absolutely perfectly, and that made me feel good because I don't have to mix it up. I can just take it straight out of the pot. So now all these parts need to be repainted silver. So I got out my silver uh, paint from the pen and started brushing it on. But I'll be honest with you, after doing it, I wasn't happy with it. I put them all in the spray booth and sprayed them with the spray bomb silver paint. So that's why I don't want to spend time showing you painting them, because I wasn't happy with the result. So now I've got to paint the red on the bottom of the body. So I'm using the tape. This is the flexible curved tape from Tamiya. It's kind of like electrical tape, but it's white, but it's really good. It leaves a very smooth edge, so I use it for everything now. Then I cover the rest of the model with some kitchen paper towel and the ordinary Tamiya masking tape. And now we go into the spray booth. This again is the color match Duplicolor car repair paint from Canadian Tire. This is metallic red. I had this handy because my son's car is this color, and so I used it. It's not the best. The nozzle's a little bit clogged, so it was a little bit dodgy doing it, but in the end it did come out perfectly. So I was a little bit surprised because when it came out all globby, I wasn't too optimistic, but in the end, it came out absolutely perfect. So here's taking the tape off is always a challenge. That's just the tape from the paper towel cover. This is the real joint here. A little paint got through, but I just touched that up later. But for the most part, it came out beautiful. So now I go to some detailing. Again, I'm using what I've used before. This styrofoam is the styrofoam that my airbrush compressor pump came in, and I've cut out a piece so that I can put the toy on it for doing the detail painting. So it raises it up off the bench, makes it easier for me to brace my hands and get in there with the brush. So this is the color that was originally on the back. Now there's the grille that's been spray painted, and I'm painting the headlights. So for the beacon, these are clear glass bulbs and I need them to be red. So I'm using this clear red Mr. Hobby aqueous paint. And I got to prepare it for the airbrush. So I'm going to use a little bit of ordinary. So I need to get, and one of these is going to be my home cast tire. Looks pretty good. Nobody's going to notice it on the shelf. And I'm going to glue it in with my 5-minute 2-part epoxy that I get from the dollar store. Put a tiny bit on there, put it in the hole, and that's it. I wish all the Dinky toys had this because it makes the restorer's time a lot easier. So now we put these parts back together. Again, I don't have room for a screw here, so I'm just going to put epoxy on top of the rivet post. And here for the siren, I just put a little bit of epoxy in the opening and put the siren in place. Straighten it out. For the front, I drilled and tapped this one so I can put in my 440 button head cap screw. And it's nice, it's much easier for detailing when you have a whole separate part. You can spray paint and it's bolted into place. I've got to move the little wire out of the way so that that will fit in. So the beacon's in place. And now the front lights. These were a little harder to put in than I expected because once there was paint on them, they were a little bit sticky to put in. These back ones go in, they're not glued in, they're held in by the cabin, the canopy, or whatever you want to call it. So it's molded in so that it holds those parts in. And then the rear door, it also has the hinge parts, and then the base holds the back door in place. Now the front, I can put my 440 button head cap screw in there and tighten it down. And now I have to put the back door on. So once again, a little bit of epoxy. And then fit the door on there on its little remaining rivets. And then let it harden. Actually, I put it in place before I let it harden to make sure it hardens in the right position. Just so you know that it actually works. I got from Steve Flowers, my patient, in his gurney, and shut the door. So now to remind you where we started, here's the original model. It's actually in really good shape except somebody stepped on it. And then some of the parts have gone missing, a wheel, axle, and the rear beacon lights. Those beacon lights are interesting because these are remnants of the 1959 Cadillac ambulance, and you can see those tail lights are famous and worldwide. And these things lasted all the way at least until 1971. They have the same shape on all their ambulances, even though it didn't exist on the car after 1959. So that's what it looked like when we started. And let's see what it looks like now. There, with the magic of video, we have the perfectly restored ambulance with its beautiful rear beacon lights. And a lot of it is still original. I didn't have to touch the windows at all. And I just basically spruced up most of it, and I repaired that cracked fender. And I think it's a beautiful toy. I think I picked this up at a garage sale even though it was broken and in pieces, because when I was a child I just loved these things. When you see these things going down the road, they just look so sci-fi and modernistic, and like you think the thing could fly in space. Just gorgeous, gorgeous vehicles. And I always felt bad as soon as these things disappeared and they were replaced by big cube vans. And I know the cube van is probably way better for the frontline staff having to work on an injured patient inside, but it's a great loss that we lost these beautiful cars. Anyway, if you want to see more of these videos, I hope you've enjoyed this one. I certainly enjoyed putting this back together and making it look beautiful again. So please share, like, and subscribe, because that's how you get more of these videos, is you let me know that you like what I'm doing. So and next time I'm going to be doing another ambulance, so keep posted, because this ambulance is going to be a British ambulance and it's going to be from the 1940s. So until then, be seeing you.